All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Lalima Aneja Dang, and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of transport aircraft manufacturing project for Indian Air Force in Vadodara, Gujarat today. Prime Minister to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 this morning. Centre extends ban on sugar exports for another year. 413 candidates left in fray for assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh after withdrawal of candidature. Chhath Puja being celebrated in different parts of the country today with religious fervour and devotion. Death toll in last night's stampede in South Korean capital Seoul rises to 149. Indian duo of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy storm into men's doubles final of French Open badminton tournament in Paris. India beat Australia in under-21 men's hockey to lift Sultan of Johor Cup in Malaysia. And in cricket, India to take on South Africa in ICC T20 Men's World Cup in Perth this afternoon. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of a transport aircraft manufacturing project in Vadodara, Gujarat today to strengthen the logistic capabilities of Indian Air Force. The project, worth around 22,000 crore rupees, is the first of its kind in which C-295MW transport aircraft will be manufactured in India by private companies, Airbus Defence and Tata Consortium. In a big boost to Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, Make in India, and domestic aviation manufacturing, 40 aircraft will be manufactured in the country. This state-of-the-art transport aircraft, with a capacity of 5 to 10 tons, will strengthen the Indian Air Force. The aircraft can also be used for civilian purposes. The new aircraft will replace the aging Avro aircraft. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Minister of Civil Aviation Jyotiraditya Scindia, and Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and other dignitaries will attend the function. Our correspondent covering the Prime Minister's Vadodara visit reports that the transport aircraft manufacturing project will prove to be another milestone in the country's efforts towards self-reliance in the aviation sector.
The C-295MW transport aircraft manufacturing project will strengthen the Indian Air Force and create an entire new ecosystem for the domestic aviation sector. In September last year, Cabinet Committee on Security had approved the procurement of 56 C-295MW transport aircraft from Airbus Defence and Space SA. 16 aircraft will be delivered in flyway condition, while 40 aircraft will be manufactured in Vadodara by Airbus Defence and Tata Consortium. All these 56 transport aircraft will be fitted with indigenous electronic warfare suits. The transport aircraft manufacturing facility will generate several skilled and indirect jobs. It is estimated that 600 highly skilled jobs and more than 3,000 indirect jobs will be generated. This ambitious project will enhance the country's overall capabilities in transport aircraft manufacturing and give a boost to Make in India initiative. Sanjeev Kumar Singh for AIR News.
Tomorrow, the Prime Minister will visit Kevadia. He will pay homage to Sardar Patel at the Statue of Unity and later participate in the Rashtriya Ekta Divas celebrations. Mr. Modi will also address the officer trainees of the 97th Common Foundation course at the culmination of Arambh 4.0.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. today. This will be the 94th episode of the monthly radio program. The program will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan, AIR News website and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be live streamed on YouTube channels of All India Radio News, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The United Nations Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Committee has adopted the Delhi Declaration on the countering of use of new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes. The Delhi Declaration was adopted in the special meeting of the committee held in New Delhi yesterday. In the Delhi Declaration, the committee has urged all member states to ensure zero tolerance towards terrorism, consistent with their obligations under international laws, including human rights law, international humanitarian law, and international refugees law. It has called for taking urgent action to prevent and counter terrorism in all its forms and manifestations through the full and effective implementation of Security Council resolutions and other relevant international instruments relating to terrorism. The declaration reaffirms that terrorism should not be associated with any religion, nationality, civilization, or ethnic group. The declaration has also underscored the obligation of the member states to prevent and suppress the financing of terrorist acts and to refrain from providing any form of support, active or passive, to entities or persons involved in terrorist acts. In the Delhi Declaration, the committee has reaffirmed that terrorism in all forms constitutes one of the most serious threats to international peace and security, and vowed to contribute further to enhancing the effectiveness of the overall effort to fight the scourge on a global level. Speaking at the plenary session of the meeting yesterday, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said the threat of terrorism is growing and expanding in Asia and Africa. He said use of new and emerging technologies by non-state actors has posed a serious challenge before the security architecture. The theme of the special meeting was countering the use of new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes. Dr. Jaishankar reaffirmed India's commitment to strengthening the international efforts to combat terrorism, including combating the use of new and emerging technologies.
In recent years, terrorist groups, their ideological fellow travelers, and lone wolf attackers have significantly enhanced their capabilities by gaining access to these technologies. They use technology and money, and most importantly, the ethos of open societies to attack freedom, tolerance, and progress. Internet and social media platforms have turned into potent instruments in the toolkit of terrorists and militant groups for spreading propaganda, radicalization, and conspiracy theories aimed at destabilizing societies.
The External Affairs Minister highlighted the dangers posed by the use of unmanned aerial systems by terrorist groups and organized criminal networks.
These terrorist groups have been using unmanned aerial platforms such as drones and quadcopters for cross-border trafficking of drugs and arms and for carrying out terrorist attacks. And such risks are not limited to India. In Africa, drones have been used by terrorist groups to monitor movements of security forces and even of UN peacekeepers, making them vulnerable to terrorist attacks. A few months ago, terrorists launched cross-border drone attacks on the UAE and Saudi Arabia, targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure, which led to loss of lives and injuries, including to Indian nationals there. India has strongly condemned these cross-border drone attacks both in UAE and Saudi Arabia.
Dr. Jaishankar said counter-terrorism has become one of the top priorities during India's present tenure in the United Nations Security Council.
The Council is holding this special meeting of its Counter-Terrorism Committee in India is also a product of the fact that counter-terrorism has become one of the top priorities during our ongoing tenure in the Security Council. Terrorism remains one of the gravest threats to humanity. The UN Security Council in the past 2 decades has evolved an important architecture built primarily around the counter-terrorism sanctions regime to combat this menace. This has been very effective in putting those countries on notice that had turned terrorism into a state-funded enterprise.
Heads of delegations of the United Nations Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Committee, CTC, called on President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. They are in India to attend the special meeting of the UNSC CTC held in Mumbai and Delhi. Welcoming the delegation members, the President appreciated their gesture of commencing their visit by paying tributes to the 26/11 victims in Mumbai. The President said India, as world's largest democracy with one of the most open and diverse societies in the world, has been a victim of terrorism for decades. She added that India has a national commitment to fight the evil of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. President Murmu emphasized that zero tolerance to all acts of terror, irrespective of its motivation, should continue to be the guiding approach of the international community in shaping the global counter-terror architecture. The central government has extended the restriction on export of sugar for one more year, starting from the 31st of this month, to raise its availability in the domestic markets and control prices. Directorate General of Foreign Trade in a notification said that restriction on export of sugar, including raw, refined and white, will remain in force from the 31st of October 2022 to the 31st of October 2023. As per the notification, the restriction is not applicable to sugar being exported to European Union and USA. A total of 413 candidates have been left in the fray for assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh after withdrawal of candidature. On the last day of withdrawal of nominations yesterday, 92 candidates withdrew their nominations. The state will go to polls on November the 12th. BJP and Congress have intensified their campaign after the withdrawal of nominations. BJP is all set to give momentum to its electioneering with their star campaigners in the state from today, with plans to hold public meetings in all the 68 assembly seats. Here's a report.
Star campaigners of both BJP and Congress will come to Himachal to campaign for the party and its candidate. BJP's 32 star campaigners will start their Vijay Sankalp Abhiyan from today with public meetings at various places in all 68 assembly segments. To address these rallies, along with BJP national leaders, union ministers and chief ministers of BJP ruled states are also coming to Himachal. Both BJP and Congress have released lists of their 40 star campaigners. This week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Union Minister for Road and Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari, Union Minister Smriti Irani and UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will address election rallies in the state. On the other hand, Congress top brass, including Sonia Gandhi, Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge, Priyanka Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi are among the other star campaigners. Sanjeev Sundaryal, AIR News, Shimla.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of transport aircraft manufacturing project for Indian Air Force in Vadodara, Gujarat today. Prime Minister to share his thoughts in Man Ki Baat program at 11 this morning. Centre extends ban on sugar exports for another year. 413 candidates left in fray for assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh after withdrawal of candidature. Chhath Puja being celebrated in different parts of the country today with religious fervour and devotion. Death toll in last night's stampede in South Korean capital Seoul rises to 149. Indian duo of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy storm into men's doubles final of French Open badminton tournament in Paris. India beat Australia in under-21 men's hockey to lift Sultan of Johor Cup in Malaysia. And in cricket, India to take on South Africa in ICC T20 Men's World Cup in Perth this afternoon. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
दिल्ली में AIR FM गोल्ड आ रहा है नए सुर, ताल और लय के साथ। हर घंटे समाचार, नए रोचक कार्यक्रम और समसामयिक विषयों पर चर्चा। 1 नवंबर से एक बार फिर आप, हम और 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर वही आपका मनपसंद रेडियो चैनल AIR FM गोल्ड करा सोना।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Chhath Puja is being celebrated in different parts of the country, including Bihar, UP and Delhi, with religious fervor and devotion. Devotees will offer Sandhya Arghya to the setting sun on the third day of the festival this evening. This puja is dedicated to the worship of the sun god and to thank for supporting life on earth. Chhath is celebrated on the 6th day of the month of Kartik in the Vikram Samvat. Our Patna correspondent has filed this report on the Chhath celebrations in Bihar.
The whole atmosphere is reverberating with devotional songs. Devotees have started gathering at various ghats of rivers, ponds and water reservoirs. All roads led to ghats have been nicely decorated. Standing in knee-deep water, devotees will pay oblation to the setting sun this evening. A large number of devotees have gathered at various sun temples, including Dev in Aurangabad, Badgaon in Nalanda and Ular Sun Temple in Paliganj to observe the festival. It is said those who perform Chhath with full devotion, their desires are fulfilled. Bihar government has made elaborate arrangements to avoid untoward incidents. NDRF teams have also been deployed at main ghat. Krishna Kumar Lal, AIR News, Patna.
The 4-day Chhath Puja will culminate with oblation to the rising sun tomorrow morning. President Draupadi Murmu has extended her greetings to fellow citizens living in India and abroad on the occasion of Chhath Puja. In her message, the President said, Chhath Puja is an occasion when we express our reverence, affection and gratitude towards Mother Nature. She said, this festival is a unique example of mutual harmony between human beings and nature. Ms. Murmu hoped that on this year's Chhath Puja, people's wishes will get fulfilled and everyone will be healthy and happy. The President appealed to the people to take this opportunity to pledge that they will make water, resources and environment pollution-free. Greeting people on the auspicious occasion of Chhath, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, Chhath Puja is dedicated to the worship of sun and nature. He prayed that everyone's life may always be illuminated with the blessings of Lord Sun and Chhati Maya. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has greeted the countrymen on the auspicious occasion of Chhath Puja, which is a festival of sun worship. In a tweet, Mr. Shah prayed that may Chhati Maya bless everyone with happiness, peace, prosperity and health.
The second edition of Naval Commanders Conference of 2022 will begin tomorrow in New Delhi. The Ministry of Defence said during the 4-day conference, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will address and interact with the naval commanders on matters pertaining to national security. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Anil Chauhan, and Chiefs of the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force would also interact with naval commanders. During the conference, the Chief of Naval Staff, along with other naval commanders, will review major operational, material, logistics, human resource development, training and administrative activities undertaken by the Indian Navy in the past few months. They will further deliberate upon future plans for important activities and initiatives. The conference would also dwell upon the dynamics of the geostrategic situation of the region and the Navy's readiness to deal with the same. All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, New Delhi, has launched a dashboard on its website to provide real-time data on the status of availability of emergency beds and the number of patients awaiting admission for treatment. The dashboard, named AIIMS Main Hospital Casualty Dashboard, was launched by Director of the Institute, Dr. M. Srinivas. The new initiative will enhance transparency in the hospital. Dr. Srinivas also held a meeting with directors and medical superintendents of central and Delhi government hospitals of the national capital. During the meeting, he stressed on the need for real-time emergency bed availability at the hospitals, integrated unified dashboard of bed status, and creating two-way referral of critical and non-critical cases. Talking to reporters, AIIMS Medical Superintendent Dr. D.K. Sharma said during the meeting the discussion was held to create emergency service network and develop cross-referral system for patients in hospitals.
फैसले ये दिए गए हैं कि हम लोग जो है आपस में एक इमरजेंसी सर्विसेज का एक नेटवर्क बनाएं, एक क्रॉस रेफरेंस की सिस्टम को डेवलप करें और क्रॉस रेफरेंस करते हुए कम्युनिकेशन रखें ताकि पेशेंट को जहाँ पे उसको सही इलाज के लिए भेजा जा रहा है तो वहाँ पे उसको रिसीव किया जाए और उसका इमीडिएट ट्रीटमेंट सही सेंटर में उसको स्टेबलाइजेशन तो वहीं पर होगा जहाँ पे वो इनिशियल जा रहा है, लेकिन उसके बाद जो उसका आगे का इलाज जो है वो एक सही सेंटर में सही ढंग से होगा.
The death toll in last night's stampede in South Korean capital Seoul has reached 149. At least 150 others have been injured in the incident as huge crowds gathered in a popular nightlife area to celebrate Halloween in Seoul's Itaewon district. The death toll is likely to rise as emergency workers continue to transport the injured to hospitals across Seoul following the stampede. Many of the injured are in a serious condition and receiving emergency treatment.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has expressed deep shock at the loss of so many young lives due to the stampede in Seoul, South Korea. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar paid condolences to the families of those who lost their dear ones in this tragic incident. He said India stands in solidarity with the Republic of Korea during this difficult time. In Somalia, 29 people were killed and 70 injured after 2 car bombs exploded near government offices in capital Mogadishu yesterday. Police said most of the victims were civilians and that 4 militants had been involved in the attack. Some of the wounded are in critical condition. The blasts occurred in the Zobe district and appeared to target the Education Ministry. Authorities said the Al-Shabaab group carried out the attack, targeting the Education Ministry, an intersection and a school. The attack occurred on a day when the President, Prime Minister and other senior officials were meeting to discuss combating violent extremism, especially by the Al-Shabaab group that often targets the capital.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken over phone. Dr. Jaishankar thanked him for his strong and clear message on counter-terrorism as well as his call for holding those responsible for 26/11 Mumbai attacks accountable. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said, during the telephonic conversations, Ukraine conflict and other regional issues were also discussed.
In badminton, Indian star duo of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy have stormed into the men's doubles final of the French Open tournament in Paris. World number 8 Indian pair beat the South Koreans Choi Sol-kyu and Kim Won-ho 21-18, 21-14 in the semi-finals yesterday. Satvik and Chirag will play the summit clash against Chinese Taipei's Lu Qingyao and Yang Po-han today.
Indian under-21 men's hockey team defeated Australia in a nail-biting final to lift the Sultan of Johor Cup 2022 in Malaysia yesterday. The two teams were tied at 1-1 in regulation time, following which 9 penalty shots were needed to decide the winner. India edged the shootout 5-4 and won their third Sultan of Johor Cup title. Sudeep Chermakoo in 14th minute scored the goal for India in regulation time. India's previous 2 titles came in 2013 and 2014. The top scorer at the 10th Sultan of Johor Cup was India's Shardanand Tiwari with 7 goals to his name. The player of the match in the final against Australia was Sudeep Chermakoo. Indian men's hockey team will take on Spain in the FIH Men's Pro League in Bhubaneswar today. In the opening game on Friday, India defeated New Zealand 4-3 at the Kalinga Stadium. Mandeep Singh scored twice in the final 15 minutes as India came back from a 2-goal deficit to get the winning goal with 3 minutes left on the clock. Mandeep Moore and captain Harmanpreet Singh were the other goal setters for India. Sam Lane scored twice and Jake Smith scored 1 goal for New Zealand.
In ICC T20 Men's World Cup cricket, India will face South Africa in Perth today. The match will start at 4:30 p.m. Indian time. All India Radio will broadcast live commentary of the match. So far, India has defeated Pakistan and the Netherlands in this year's World Cup. Their match against South Africa will be a battle between equals because the conditions in Perth will suit the Proteas. Earlier yesterday, New Zealand defeated Sri Lanka by 65 runs at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Chasing a target of 168 runs, the Sri Lankan team were all out for 102 in 19.2 overs. Trent Boult was the most successful bowler for New Zealand. He scalped 4 wickets, giving away just 13 runs in 4 overs. Earlier, New Zealand won the toss and elected to bat first. For New Zealand, Glenn Phillips hit a scintillating knock of 104 runs off just 64 deliveries.
The Gujarat government has decided to set up a committee for the implementation of Uniform Civil Code in the state ahead of assembly elections. Addressing the media in Gandhinagar, Minister of State for Home Harsh Sanghvi said the state cabinet cleared a proposal to this effect during its meeting yesterday. Union Minister Purushottam Rupala, who was also present at the press conference, said the high-level committee will be headed by our retired High Court judge and will have 3 to 4 members. Union Minister of State for Education, Dr. Subhas Sarkar, has said that the National Education Policy, NEP 2020, facilitates the inclusion of transformative curriculum in which the main focus is given to the holistic development of learners, equipping them with key 21st century skills and enhancing essential learning and critical thinking. Addressing the 102nd Foundation Day of Jamia Millia Islamia University in New Delhi, the minister said a great focus has been given to hands-on experiential learning and on providing a holistic approach to the learning process in the NEP 2020. And now let's take a look at the weather across the country today. Well, the national capital, Delhi, will have mist or shallow fog in the morning. The temperature will hover between minimum of 14 degrees and maximum of 31 degrees Celsius. Mumbai is likely to have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius and the maximum should be around 34. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius and maximum should be around 32. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 30 degrees. Jammu will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 16 degrees Celsius. The maximum should be around 30 degrees. Srinagar and Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Framework for social media grievance panels likely soon is the Economic Times headline. The Sunday Pioneer reports that India's Ministry of Defence is the world's largest employer with 2.92 million employees. Kala Namak rice, protected under GI tag system, has been modified by the Indian Agricultural Research Institute to double its yield, is a front page story in The Hindu. The Sunday Tribune and other papers have published a picture of Harveen Kaur Khalon in army uniform at the pipping ceremony of Officers Training Academy in Chennai, holding her son Anharbir. Kaur's husband, Major KPS Kahlon, had laid down his life in the line of duty in 2019. Also, Rigzin Chorul will be the Army's first Ladakhi woman officer, says the Times of India, with her picture. Task Force pushes for games on Indian epics, headlines the Hindustan Times. The government task force has recommended that online and video games be developed using Indian epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata and iconic films like Bahubali and Sholay, and traditional games set a peppy make once. Says the Financial Express. Ultimate Kho-Kho UKK had its inaugural tournament in August with a prize money of 2 crore rupees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of transport aircraft manufacturing project for Indian Air Force in Vadodara, Gujarat today. Prime Minister to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 this morning. Centre extends ban on sugar exports for another year. 413 candidates left in fray for assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh after withdrawal of candidature. Chhath Puja is being celebrated in different parts of the country today with religious fervour and devotion. Death toll in last night's stampede in South Korean capital Seoul rises to 149. Indian duo of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy storm into men's doubles final of French Open badminton tournament in Paris. India beat Australia in under-21 men's hockey to lift Sultan of Johor Cup in Malaysia. And in cricket, India to take on South Africa in ICC T20 Men's World Cup in Perth this afternoon. Well, for details of these stories and more, you may log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.